I'm using Thinkorswim from TD Ameritrade. Uh, I'm not sure how other scanners really work, but nonetheless, Thinkorswim makes it really easy. They give you this little scan tab, and you just add some filters. You just like click add a. So if I got rid of all these and scanned, it's gonna give me everything in the stock market up to 2000. So if I add a filter and I want to say, well, let me just check the price. I don't want to look at stocks that are super expensive. Let's say $122, it's too high. I don't want that. And I also don't want to be looking at stocks that are fractions of a penny. So I go here and I go to mark. And that's just, mark is just where the price is currently at. I type in $1. And then the max $20. So now if I scan the market and I'm scanning all stocks in the market, it'll only show me ones from $1 to $20. And you can see right here, the last price for all these will be between $1 and $20. And so scanning is basically filtering to look at only the things you want to look at. And you can also filter the pool that you're looking in too. So when you there's this tab scan in, and this is just for my scanner, but the point here is I can scan my personal watch list that I've created. I can scan all stocks. I can scan different sectors if I wanted to. Yeah, so you can just do a lot, but I just want to scan all the stocks right now. And so I have this from 1 to 20. So if I add another filter, uh, do another stock based filter. Um, Now I want to look for shares. And so if you remember the analogy that I said, this is the pond size. So, like, if a village has a pond to drink from, and the size of the pond is all of their drinking water, then the size of their pond dictates how much the price per drop will change as each drop is taken out or put in. Then I'm setting my pond size basically, and all I really care about is I'm not too strict on a minimum here, just whatever, somewhere under a million, I guess. It could really be like 10 million, 5 million. It could be anywhere in there. But what we really want to restrict here, it could be zero. What we really want to restrict here is the cap. How big can the pond be? If there's a whole ocean, then and I go and take a cup out, it's basically free because that didn't change the overall size very much. So I want to make it right around like 150 million is comfortable for me. Some people do like 60 million or like 80 million. Like 80 million float is pretty good. And so I just set mine around 150 million total shares. And so the float will be under 150 million because some of these shares are already dedicated to private parties. So uh, what's available to the public is going to be under 155 million. It'll be something like 80 million, maybe 100 million, maybe 120 million, but it's under this because some of these shares are dedicated to uh, inside investors. And so the next thing I'm going to add here, I'm just going to add another filter. I'm going to go in and now I'm going to do volume. And so the same kind of pond analogy with the village, the volume is how many people are coming to, how many drops are being put in and taken out of the pond. So how much attention is it getting right now, essentially? Um, and what I do for volume, we like a lot of volume, so keep the max capped. and then raise the minimum, we don't want to look at these stocks where no one has come to even say hi. So we're going to bump this volume up to say, all right, like around a half a million. Let's just say a good number. Let's just say 500,000. So there has to be at least a volume of 500,000. So there's going to be some attention here. So now we can do the scan where we have the price that we like and the size of the pond, how many shares, and then how much attention uh, it has seen today. So now we do this new scan and we get these good little numbers as volume and shares right here. And we can really see that some of these are just the volume has far exceeded the share count. This little pond is so dried up that it's having to pull something out of nothing here. It's pulling. There's going to be a lot of fluctuation. As soon as a drop goes back in, it's going to be worth significantly more right now because everybody's staring at this pond waiting for water to rise up. And so what that might cause people to do is eventually someone will say that water's too expensive. I'm not going to buy it. And then other people are going to say, "Oh, well I bought way too much water because I was planning on people buying this, so now I'm just going to sell it all back before I lose money." And that's what's going to happen. It's just going to roll downhill. So if I wanted to gear this down even further, one step further for this scan, uh, and all of these are, you can see these are fluctuating a fair amount. None of them are really just a straight line here. So we found our fluctuation points, our low floats, uh, right in here, and it's in a price point one. So one final thing we could do is just add another filter here, and go to percent change, and that's going to be basically the percent that it has changed. As far as I can tell, do your research and look up what percent change actually means. But as far as I can tell, it's basically relative to a pretty recent time. So relative to like maybe a couple hours or a day, maybe a couple days, or maybe it just takes all of that math into account and spits out an average. I'm not exactly sure, but what we're gonna look at is percentage that it's been changing. So if I want stocks that have gone at least 1% and upwards of 5%. Then I'm gonna put it, or you will see all these stocks that are gonna spit out are all gonna be green. Everyone is doing better than they recently were. And so we can see right here, this is a nice little test here, that percent change clearly doesn't mean in the past hour, because this is not a positive change in the past hour. In fact, it's not a positive change really at all today. It is a positive change from yesterday. So maybe they're comparing it to the day prior, is what it seems like. So we can take this little scanner here and say, well, what if I want to see? Yeah, okay. All of the look, yeah. So it's kind of a weird accumulation percentage that they do some weird like averaging, because this one is not better than yesterday, but it is doing relatively good as of recent time. So if we just wanted to look at ones that are declining, then you just move this to the other end. You can make it however big or small you want, of course, and say you want to look at ones that are doing all the way from negative 10% to average. And of course, we're going to get a bunch of red ones. These dudes are all kind of declining. Yeah. This one hasn't declined in the past couple of days, but it has declined pretty significantly today. Looks like it's doing a rebound now. So like this might be a very good one to jump on. It might level out at like 18.5, or maybe, yeah, it just depends. So yeah, that's how you scan the market. You're basically filtering and fine tuning things to look for only things that you want to look for. This is in fact what I would call a pretty good pre-market scan. If I set this from 0, or actually if I set this from like 3 to 10, or even like 1ish to 10ish percent change, this is like an ideal pre-market scan. So right before the market opens, I click here, I see who's doing good pre-market, because the company's still selling shares in the pre-market area. It's just you happening by limit orders and insider individuals who have private stakeholds in those companies. So a lot is still happening. So right before the market opens and the first, you know, 10 minutes of market open, you're really just scanning. You haven't really bought anything quite yet, and you're just scanning. You're looking through all. I mean, there's a lot to look through. You're kind of comparing all of these. Uh, in pre-market, you'll have it zoomed in pretty significantly, and you'll just be scanning through all of these to see and checking these little bars. There's even little bar techniques that people use. And it's like a 4 bar. There's like a 3 bar, 4 bar, 5 bar plays that people use, and they use their scanner and look at the bars. So this is the exciting part. But yeah, this is a scanner uh, for just scanning the stock market.